good evening and a warm welcome to State of Business on our television. I am Savindri Javardhan. Let's look at the top stories for the day. Members contesting for the forthcoming general election should adopt the country-first attitude, stresses March 12 movement. Tea production in January 2020 dips marginally compared to January last year. News in detail. Parliamentarian and member of the March 12 movement, Chandima Veerakkodi stresses that the members who are contesting for the forthcoming general election should adopt the country-first attitude and be an exemplary role to the society. Chandima Veerakkodi made these observations addressing a media briefing pioneered by the parliamentary group of the March 12 movement, which was held at Parliament Complex yesterday.
The people of this country expect a better parliament, a parliament that can stand on its own. Parliament which comprises of members of exemplary behavior. Parliament that has members who are educated. I don't say that everyone has to have an educational certificate as such, but preferably educated, those who are brilliant, those who had excelled in their area of work, whatever the career or the profession that they represent, they should have excelled in that particular field. And also, most importantly, all the members of parliament who will get elected has to love this country. Country should come first. And they must be people who are clean. They must be people who can be seen as an example to the others in this country. They must be people who are in a position to take this country forward without having personal agenda.
Meanwhile, addressing the same press briefing, the Executive Director of PAFRL, Rohana Hettiaraj, highlighted that political party leaders have the key responsibility in selecting the right candidates for the nomination list in the forthcoming parliamentary general election.
So, the prime responsibility is going with the political party leaders. If they fail to bring the capable people, quality people into their list, the voters doesn't have any choice. So, we humbly request them to consider this. We as a March 12 movement, we are planning to educate the voters across the country with the academic people, with the religious leaders, those who are influenced the society. We are trying to bring all of them to pressurize the political party and also educate the voters. So if they fail to bring a good people, I'm happy to say that we are ready to defeat all those the candidate if they are not bringing in a proper people. This is the brilliant opportunity for Sri Lanka now. We are getting an opportunity to select new 225 parliamentarians for the next 5 years period, and whoever we are selecting and electing for the coming elections, they are the one who really decide where the country should go forward. Their decisions will affect not for 5 years, for the entire future will depend on their decisions. So the political party leaders should take a proper decisions when they're selecting the candidates for the nomination list.
The Women Parliamentarians Caucus urges voters at the upcoming parliamentary general election to send more women to the House in order to ensure more protection for women and children in the country. This was mentioned at a media briefing organized by the Women Parliamentarians Caucus, which was held in Parliament Complex last Wednesday. Members of the Women Parliamentarians Caucus noted that there are only 12 women MPs in the current House and that it constitutes only 5% of MPs. The women parliamentarians added that the poor female representation in the Parliament makes formulating policies concerning women and children challenging. They pointed out that in the first 2 weeks of this year alone, police had reported 142 rape cases, 42 cases of serious sexual assault and 54 cases of child rape, and that country needs to formulate more robust laws to better protect women and children, and for that country needs more female representation. The MPs collectively said that at least one woman MP per electoral district should be in Parliament. They urged the leaders of the political parties to ensure that a sufficient number of women are given nominations at the next general elections. The MPs participating in the media conference were Sumedha Jayasena, Sudarshini Fernando-Pulle, Thusita Wijemanna, Shriyani Vijayavikrama, Rohini Kumari Vijayaratna, Vijayakala Maheshwaran and Hirunika Pemachandra. A survey carried out by the Salon Chamber of Commerce reveals that 49% of the firms which are its members had been impacted by coronavirus. Meanwhile, the survey respondents also highlighted that despite the uncertainty, there's also an opportunity for countries like Sri Lanka to benefit with trade and supply chain realignment, and that policymakers need to provide that conducive environment for export growth. The survey conducted by the Salon Chamber of Commerce shows that 60% of its members expressed that their sales had not been impacted due to the outbreak in the last 3 weeks compared with the same period in 2019. However, 40% of the survey respondents stated that they had a sales decline due to the impact of COVID-19 in the same period, and 49% of the firms which are its members had been impacted by COVID-19. The disruption to supply chains and travel is the key concern that policymakers are trying to tackle, and in this regard, 43% of the survey respondents expressed that there was a slowdown in imports from China, while 27% felt that there was no impact yet but are expecting supply disruptions in the next few weeks. 65% of the members stated that their organization's overseas travel for business purposes had been limited due to COVID-19. In this regard, members expressed that there were cancellations of prospective meetings and events in the Asian region. The impact from the delay in shipments of certain raw material imports from the region was a key insight from the survey. Meanwhile, survey respondents highlighted the need for policymakers to provide a conducive environment for export growth. Stay tuned for more news right after this break. Welcome back after the break. Sri Lanka Tea Board announces that the national tea production in the country during the month of January this year decreased by 7% in comparison to the production in January last year. Sri Lanka Tea Board in a statement also said that the production of high-grown tea sector has increased this year compared to January 2019. Sri Lanka Tea Board said that the tea production in this year's January is 21 million kilograms in comparison to over 23 million kilograms in 2019. Thus, it shows a decrease of 29,353 kilograms, which accounts for 7% drop against the corresponding month of 2019. Meanwhile, the production of the high-grown tea sector has increased this January with nearly 5 million kilograms. But the production of other two sectors such as medium-grown and low-grown tea sectors have shown a decrease compared to corresponding month in 2019. Dialog Asiata Group announced the entering into 2 supplementary agreements with the Board of Investment for the investment of an additional sum of nearly $254 million in Sri Lanka's ICT infrastructure. The investment comprises of $197 million from Dialog Asiata and $63.4 million from its subsidiary Dialog Broadband Networks Private Limited. These agreements span a broad scope of ICT infrastructure development by the Dialog Asiata Group, encompassing the expansions of mobile and fixed 4G networks, the evolution of IP and fiber networks, and further development of the group's Wi-Fi and broadband networks. Moreover, the investment is set to yield significant benefits to the economy through the deployment of 5G connectivity, which will position Sri Lanka as a pioneer in 5G technology. This will be alongside the submarine cable and landing station development, which will offer more reliable and cost-effective internet connectivity. Innovative smartphone manufacturer Huawei recently unveiled their much-awaited new addition to the Weiss series, the Huawei Weiss 7P in Sri Lanka. The speciality of this launch was that the Huawei Weiss 7P is the first device to be launched with Huawei App Gallery, Huawei's newly launched application store in Sri Lanka. Huawei Weiss 7P features 3 intelligent rear cameras. The 48-megapixel main camera, an 8-megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera, and a 2-megapixel depth camera showcase all the fine details and clarity and allow one to see further, wider and clearer. The Huawei Weiss 7P comes with Huawei App Gallery, including Huawei ID, which is linked to all applications, and Huawei Cloud, enabling users to backup and restore their photos, videos, calendars, and notes, synchronize and transfer data across Huawei mobile devices, as well as store and access files safely using Cloud Drive. The Huawei App Gallery ensures that all featured apps are safe to download and use, and other highlights such as Huawei Video, Huawei Themes, Huawei Screen Magazine, and Huawei Browser. The 64 GB ROM on this phone allows users to keep photos, videos, and apps easily, and with 4 GB RAM, running multiple apps simultaneously and loading games will be conducted seamlessly and efficiently. The Huawei Weiss 7P is now available in Sri Lanka for an affordable price. Thus, the national distributor of the new Huawei phone is Singer Sri Lanka, and its director operations, Jagat Perera, spoke to media on the launch.
Mobile comes with a very good elegant features like 48 MP camera. They are using a new chipset called Kiran, which they are using these chipsets normally for high-end phone. This time they are using for middle-end range. So maybe from this week we can keep the available for Sri Lankan customer to have a good experience on the HMS system as well as the Weiss 7P mobile.
One of the investment institutions, First Capital Holdings, states that the market saw a mixed outlook for the gone week and that it expects a positive outlook in the coming week.
This week has been a rather short week with Friday being a holiday. We've seen that the market is having mixed reactions this week with Monday and Thursday the market being slightly negative, and we saw Tuesday and Wednesday the market being a bit positive. Turnover levels actually has been moderate around the 400 million to 500 million rupee mark. However, on Thursday we saw some large turnover levels with parcel trades in TJL and commercial bank. So mainly the transactions in TJL and commercial bank has been foreign selling, where we saw local buying on the two counters, which has boosted turnover levels on Thursday. If you take the throughout the week, we've seen net foreign outflow for the week, except on Tuesday where we saw marginal foreign inflow. With this situation, the year-to-date net foreign outflow has been somewhere in the range of 3.9 billion rupees. So in the upcoming week, we expect the market to be a bit positive, though we expected the last week also for the market to be on a positive trend. We didn't see much of results being released, so with that we saw a mixed reaction. But in the upcoming week, it is the last week where company results can be released, and we feel that most of the company results is likely to be positive. With that, taking the momentum into the market, we feel that market activity and investors are likely to be on a positive momentum, giving rise to positive outlook for the market. So overall, we feel that activity levels are also likely to improve in the overall market, giving it a positive sentiment.
With that, we will end today's news. Send us your views and comments via our email address and our hotline, and log into our Facebook page to be alerted on latest updates. Join us tomorrow with Hesha on Biz Roundup. Until then, take care. Good night.